Me sacaste el hielo, ¿no? Que no sacaste el hielo.
Hi, Isabella. We ready? Hello, everybody. Welcome to our fish taco class. Northgate Markets, Mexico Lindo, and McCormick Mayonnaise are happy to host today's class with Isabella on learning how to not only make fish tacos, but can't wait to taste that hibiscus serrano margarita that Isabella is going to teach us how to do. So let's get started. I'll remind you that if you guys have questions, you could put it in the Q&A, and I will be happy to relay them to Isabella. And why don't we start by asking it if you could raise your hand up if you're going to be cooking with us today, so that we could know how many people are going to be cooking with us today. I'll also be putting the recipe in the chat, and we'll go from there.
Okay, are we ready? Are we not?
We're ready.
Okay, we're ready. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Northgate's virtual classes. I'm your host for this evening. My name is Isabella, and if you're new here and it's your first time tuning in, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm a photographer, I'm a food stylist, and I'm a self-taught chef. And I am very honored to be here to cook with you guys. And a little bit about my background is I grew up in a family with a lot of home cooks. My dad's side of the family, everybody cooks. They have restaurants, catering businesses. And I always knew that I wanted to work with food in a way. I always knew that I wanted to serve other people, and I love that about food, and I love serving others. And I think I'm really blessed that I get to combine my two passions, which are photography and cooking. And it is an honor to be here with you guys. So thank you for tuning in. And today we have a very special class, and we're gonna get cooking. So I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna cook. We're gonna do Ensenada style fish tacos. And we're gonna end with a hibiscus serrano margarita. And ode to the margarita. Yesterday was a National Margarita Day, and we're still gonna celebrate it today. We're gonna pretend it's still today. And we're gonna drink to that, and we're gonna have lots of fun. And if you have any questions, you can ask while I'm cooking, and we can just, it's very natural situation set up here. So if you guys have a question, if anybody's cooking along and has a question, that's awesome that you guys are cooking. If not, you can just watch, sit back, and make your margarita and then cook it another day. So yeah, let's get started. And I bought all my ingredients today at Northgate Market. And what I have going on here, and we're gonna start with the fish tacos. And I have my oil heating because it does take a little while, since it is a bunch of oil. I have it heating already, because I want it to be ready. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with our beer batter. And let me talk a little bit about the history of the fish taco. So these are called Baja style or Ensenada style fish tacos because it is said that fish tacos originated in Ensenada. And Ensenada is a beach town. It's actually a port, and you can actually go on a cruise there and stuff. It's a town that is about an hour away from the border, from Tijuana. And it's an awesome town if you haven't been. They have amazing culinary scene over there. But we're going back to basics. So we're gonna do fish tacos because there's this place in Ensenada that's called El Fenix. And it's been around since 1970, and it's a mom and pop joint, and it's amazing. And they only serve fish tacos and shrimp tacos Baja style. And what I mean Baja style is with a beer batter that we're gonna learn today. And I think the key ingredient, or the key, besides obviously fish and everything else, a good tortilla, I think the key to a good fish taco is in the beer batter. And a little history here, I was reading about the fish taco, and since Ensenada is a port and there's a lot of fishing and there's a lot of tuna corrals, when the Japanese used to come, the fishermen, they introduced the tempura batter to Mexicans. But obviously Mexicans were a little extra and decided to add a beer batter, and that the beer is what makes this batter so crispy and fluffy and airy, and it adds that special also flavor. So we're gonna start with our batter, and I'm gonna have my oil cooking, and we're gonna start with our batter. So what we're gonna do.
So Isabella, first question, how much oil should they put in though?
I always go an inch to the sides. So just kind of measure it. You do want to have like, not, I want to say like a deep dish, but you do want to have something with the sides, and I would go like an inch, just an inch to the sides of oil. That's how I measure it. And then what I have going on here is I have 2 cups of flour divided. So I have my 1 cup of flour so I can drench my fish before I place it in the batter. And here I just have 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of oregano, crumbled oregano. We're gonna add pepper, half a teaspoon of pepper. And we're gonna add Dijon sauce. And this trick I learned from a place here in Tijuana that makes really good fish tacos if you're ever here. And actually the Baja, if you've never visited Baja, I think it's one of the best destinations for food, fresh ingredients, beautiful beaches. You also have mountains. So if you ever are near, or you live in Chile Vista or you just come down to Baja and eat really good tacos, really good food. And so I'm adding Dijon to our, and this is flour, this is the spices that we add is salt and pepper seasoning. And then we're gonna add 1 cup of beer. And I asked for in the recipe for a dark beer, for like a dark not a lager, just a dark beer. Mexican, if you can do Mexican, that's better. So I'm using Negra Modelo, and I'm gonna do 1 cup. Just like that. And I'm gonna add it to our flour, and I'm gonna whisk it. I like to whisk it with a fork because I feel like one of these guys, like too much batter gets stuck in the middle. So I'm just gonna whisk it. Just like that. And I am gonna add a little bit more beer because I didn't wait until the bubbles left.
So Isabella, are you using kosher salt?
Yes, you can use any salt, but I like to cook with kosher salt.
And about how big do you recommend the pan to be?
For frying?
Uh-huh.
I would say this is a large one, and you can do a medium and just do it in batches because you're still gonna do your fish in batches. You won't be doing all at the same time unless you have like a really big fryer situation. So I'm whisking my batter, and we're just gonna let it sit, and I'll show you right now how it looks. We're just gonna let it sit so all the bubbles and the carbonation of the beer combine and the flavors. So this is what it looks like. Like that. And we're just gonna set it aside. It is a thicker kind of batter. It's kind of like a tempura batter. So I'm gonna set it aside. And what I have going on here is you can use cod, you can use tilapia, you can use mahi-mahi, you can use basically any white fish that is not super, super thin. I went with tilapia because they have this at Northgate and it's super fresh. And what I have, and they sell it fresh in La Pescaderia, and you have your tilapia fillets just like this. I do like to get rid of this the little tip of the tilapia, just because I'm kind of shaping it. I'm shaping them so they're the perfect little fish stick. I'm gonna use my napkin to clean. And we're also gonna season with salt and pepper our fillets. So this is how it looks like whole, and I'll show you how I cut it. I cut it in half, just like that. I'm only gonna do a couple so you can see, because I already have my strips here. And I know they look like a little thin and stuff, but the batter is really airy and it's gonna puff up. So you don't wanna do too thick, because then you'll have a huge like piece of fish in your taco. So we're gonna do kind of like that, just small pieces. So we're gonna cut into strips, just like that. And then I'm gonna season with salt and pepper. It's good. Pepper, which we already have some pepper going on here in our batter. But I also like to season fish. I feel like this is, if you season it perfectly, it will have a perfect taste. So I have my little strips right here. And this is going, I think it's really hot. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna move these guys aside, and I'll talk about this after. So I have a little strip just like this, and I'm gonna drench it in flour. And my hands are clean, and I do recommend using your hands, or you can use gloves if you wanna go for it. But I feel like the best foods are always cooked by hand. So we're just gonna drench it just like that before placing it in our batter. Just like that. Any questions, comments, concerns? I think everybody's excited about
what temperature does the oil have to be?
350 degrees.
And I have one more question over here.
Yes.
Did you already add the spices to the flour?
I did, but I added it. So this flour is only flour with just a teaspoon of salt. So it's just flour and salt, and the spices go in our batter, like the oregano and the pepper and the dijon go in the batter. So this is just salt and flour. Just like that. I'm gonna do a couple. Just like that. And we're gonna get rid of these guys. And I swear that these tacos take me back to, I mean, you can get a really fish taco anywhere here I mean, even in Chile Vista, you get amazing tacos, especially in my house. No, I'm kidding. You're gonna be able to make Ensenada style fish tacos at your house without even going to Ensenada. But I swear that you're gonna take a bite of it, and they're gonna take you to this little beach town, and you're gonna be drinking a margarita with it, and then we're gonna be making some salsa with Mexico Lindo and McCormick today. So that's a special touch. We're gonna do a little twist, so I like doing special twists to it. Any questions? I'm just gonna test.
I think we're good.
Yeah, so that's hot. Huele a changarro aquí adentro. Ustedes no huelen, pero huele a changarro aquí. Un changarro muy rico. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of the flour for drenching. And I have my batter going on here. And yes, I'm gonna use my hands, and I'm gonna have a little bit of help with this fork. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, maybe you wanna show it. So I'm gonna basically just drench this piece of fish in a batter, and I kind of cover it with a fork And you can also pick it up with a fork. I just feel the fork brings too much batter. And then I'm gonna place it in my oil, just like that. And I'm gonna continue doing the rest. And I'm gonna cook them for about 5 minutes. So I kind of do like 2.5 minutes on each side. Ooh, and it smells like beer, so like delicious beer. In this batter, you can also do shrimp, which I also love shrimp tacos. And this place I'm telling you about in Phoenix, they only sell fish tacos and shrimp tacos. That's it. And agua jamaica and soda. That's it. And they've been doing great, and they're still there, and they're literally still owned by the same owners, and it's a family-owned business. And if you're ever down there, you have to try them. And if not, you have to cook these fish tacos at home. Anybody cooking along have any questions? Everybody's so quiet today. Is it because it's a Tuesday and not a Thursday? My classes are normally on Thursday and people are really
they're confused today. So if they don't have a thermometer, how do they know that the oil is ready to go?
So if you don't have a thermometer, you can just heat the oil on medium-high heat. And what I like to do is I grab a little piece of fish that's not battered yet, that you like some pieces that you cut off. You can also do like a wooden spoon. If you can see, if it starts to bubble, you know your oil is hot enough and it's ready. Any more questions? Concerns, comments?
Thank you. Those look delicious.
Do a little drop of batter in the oil to see if it's hot enough. And if it floats, and if you can see everything start bubbling, you know your oil is ready, if that helps. Switching these guys. And you like them to be kind of golden brown. You can see they're floating, so the oil is hot enough. Questions? No? So these tacos are served traditionally on a warm tortilla, the beer battered fish, and with crema, with like a mayo cream, just like a seasoned crema. But today we're gonna do a Chile de Árbol crema. I'm gonna be using Mexico Lindo salsa, and I'll show you all the flavors they have. We're gonna be using the Chile de Árbol salsa from Mexico Lindo to create our crema for these tacos. So we're doing a little bit not traditional, because we're adding a little bit of spice to our tacos, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, so I got a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Number one, shrimp, same heat and time?
What was the question?
For the shrimp, do they use the same heat and time?
Yes, same heat, but maybe I would do just a minute on each side. Maybe I would do a little bit less time for shrimp, because they cook really fast.
Okay, so we have 3 questions about oil. Is it okay to use olive oil, avocado oil, or grapeseed oil?
Yes, you can. I wouldn't recommend olive oil per se, because it does have a stronger flavor to it. I use canola oil or vegetable oil, which I think is the best, but you can definitely do avocado oil, because it won't leave a taste, and olive oil will definitely leave a taste, and grapeseed oil is good to go as well. But yeah, I always stay away from olive oil.
Okay. What fish is better for frying?
I really like cod and tilapia. They're really good for fish tacos. Also, mahi mahi, or in Spanish, dorado, is really good. Just a flaky white fish is good.
Okay. What do you do with the leftover oil? Can you reuse it?
Yes, you can. You can reuse it. Yeah, I always keep it. I always keep a little container and just reuse it. And then, yeah, you can definitely reuse it.
And then, is the crema that you're going to use the same as sour cream?
I use Cacique crema, which is a little bit more smooth, but you can definitely use sour cream. It's basically the same thing. It's just consistency might be a bit thicker if it's sour cream, but yeah. But it won't change the flavor at all. And I actually do my crema in the blender, but blender situation's in the back, so I'm actually gonna whisk it by hand, and we'll see how it goes.
And then, did you use any baking soda or baking powder?
I did not. I did not use any baking soda, baking powder. I think the beer is perfect for that. For the carbonation of the beer is perfect for the batter.
And our last question for right now, is it 2.5 minutes on each side? Or how do you know when the fish has cooked through the batter?
So I do kind of try to do 2.5 minutes on each side. I like to do 5 minutes in total. So you can kind of flip them, because you can see they're kind of all drenched. They're kind of all drenched in oil. So they do have sides, but they're basically all cooking. So I like to do 5 minutes, and I'm actually going to take these out now, because you can tell the color. And here I already have some prepared that I made earlier, and I'm going to add these guys right here, fresh hot ones. And you see how the fish was thin? The fish was thin, but you see how it puffed up because of the batter. So try not to have super thick pieces of fish. You can see that nice golden brown color. Oops. Come on, little buddy. Okay, there we go. And these are actually great to eat like by themselves with just the crema, or maybe like some ketchup, or even some tartar sauce. They're amazing. I always make my nieces and nephew, I always make them like kind of this fish and sticks, because they're not really into the pico de gallo, not really into the tortilla unless it's a quesadilla. So I always like make these, and they love it. Like they literally, like this plate would, if they were here, this plate would fly. I'm gonna turn off my oil just because I'm gonna continue cooking and I don't want to have it really hot. So I'm gonna get rid of my batter.
So we have one more question, and this is just in preparation. She's like me. She's waiting for the Margarita. She wants to know, does she need to prepare any equipment so that they're ready?
For the Margarita?
Are we going to need a blender?
No, you won't need a blender for the Margarita. We're just going to shake it. And if you don't have a shaker, it doesn't matter. You can just like literally stir it in the glass.
Thank you, Isabela.
And I will say that I already have mi agua de Jamaica lista. So maybe you can start placing the dried hibiscus flowers and the water and the serrano to boil, if you want to have the margaritas on. If you want to cheers together. So I have my taquito de pescado, beer batter. And what I have going on here is I have some cabbage and somebody asked earlier, how do you get it to be so thin? And I do a mandolin. I do literally, I think I have it here. I just want to show you the one I use. Well, maybe not. So this is the mandolin that I use. It's not like a fancy one or anything. You can buy it. You can buy it at a market or I don't know, anywhere. And I do it on one, which is the thinnest you can get. And I just go like this with my cabbage. And I like it really thin. Like I don't like a huge piece of cabbage, like a chunk. So I do it on the mandolin. You can also obviously do it with a knife, easy cleanup, faster, but it's not like a necessary thing. So I have a store-bought Northgate Pico de Gallo because, come on, they have the best Pico de Gallo. It's already good to go. You're already gonna be cooking the fish. You're already gonna make your crema. So Northgate's got your back. Pico de Gallo, ready for you. What I have going on here is and I'm gonna heat a tortilla so you can see. Just give me some time before I plate so it gets really nice and hot. And we're gonna move on to crema. While I heat my tortilla. Heating these two tortillas, and then I'm gonna make my crema. So what I have going on here is I have half a cup of McCormick mayonesa. And normally I would add a little bit of lemon juice to my mayo or to my crema, but McCormick already has lemon. So it's perfect and ready to go. And I have it right here. I actually end up whisking also with a fork because it's huge. And then I have my crema. Crema right here. And we're gonna season with salt and pepper at the end, but I just wanna mention that. Only salt and pepper, that's it. I'm actually gonna mix with this.
And yes, Marissa, you can also use shrimp.
Yes, you can also use shrimp, correct. And I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of Mexico Lindo, and let me find it. Let's bring it over so you guys can see. And let me know if you can see all the flavors that they have. They have chile pepin, they have habanero, they have siete mares, salsa negra, and extra spicy, not as spicy. They have a bunch. And I'm gonna use the chile de árbol, which I believe is this one. See la tiene? Okay, so this is the one I'm using. It's salsa chile de árbol, es clásica. Right here. And I have 1/4 cup right here. And I start with 1/4 cup. You can always adjust spiciness. And I love doing my recipes like that. I love people just adjusting it to their taste, because obviously we have very different tastes of, maybe I find this completely spicy and you're like, oh my God, this is nothing. This is like a Monday. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do, just like that. And always season to taste. Always leave the seasoning at the end and always season to taste.
Okay, so we have that's the sour cream, o sea, la crema. And then I have a question. There's somebody who's vegetarian. What vegetable do you, or what would you recommend?
You know what? Squash is really good, like tempura or battered, and I would do cabocha squash, or you can even do butternut squash. You can do portobellos are amazing with this beer batter. They're amazing. You can even do kind of like portobello fry situation. What else is good? I think, yeah, I would definitely, squash is really good, and it goes perfect with this beer batter, portobellos. What else? Zucchini too. You can definitely use zucchini. You can basically beer batter any vegetable. You can even do broccoli and it tastes amazing. But yeah. So
we have people suggesting mushroom and cauliflower and eggplant.
Yeah, mushroom portobellos are really good. You can basically do, and you can even portobellos. You can even do them in strips, and they can actually keep the same shape as a fish taco. I mean, and that's really good too. So I have my crema. So I have my crema or sour cream, my mayo, McCormick mayo, and I did 1/4 cup of the chile de árbol salsa. And I'm going to season.
And you did say that you usually use a blender to make the crema, correct?
Usually do a blender, but I mean, you can definitely do it by hand. I just did it by hand and it was really easy. So you can, because the salsa is already blended and stuff, but I always do blender because it's my go-to, but look, it's really creamy and delicious anyway. So you can definitely do it by hand as well. And I'm gonna do pepper, salt and pepper. And I think I've mentioned before that I'm like pepper fanatic, so you can definitely do it to taste. You don't have, you're gonna, oh, that's gonna be so peppery. But I'm a pepper kind of girl, so I love seasoning with salt and pepper. And then, ooh, looks nice. I'm gonna try it and I'll maybe add a little bit more because I know people here in my house are fans of the spiciness. So I'm gonna try it. That's really good. For me, it's spicy, but I know the people behind the camera, so I'm gonna add a little bit more spiciness. And we're also gonna use salsa negra for our fish tacos. This is salsa picante negra. It's really good, and it normally is para mariscos, but we're gonna do it for fish tacos because we're gonna add a little bit something special. Ooh, for me, that's spicy, but I added a little bit more. I'm gonna add my tortilla so we can plate our fish tacos together. And tortillas are also, everything's from Northgate, but tortillas at Northgate are amazing. They taste like hechas a mano, like if they were made by hand, and they're really good and I love it. So buy your tortillas, buy everything, buy your Mexico Lindo, to McCormick, and you're good to go. So this is the consistency of our crema. It's just a creamy, creamy salsa, just like that. I'm gonna grab a plate so I can wait. Well, I'm gonna use.
So Teresa, the brand of the salsa is Mexico Lindo.
Yes, Mexico Lindo. Mexico Lindo. Okay, so I'm heating my tortillas. Ooh, I'm really thirsty now for my Margarita. I'll talk a little bit about the process and everything that goes with a Margarita in a little bit. So for plating your fish tacos, you need warm tortillas. I'm using the yellow corn. Como dicen que si ya sabes calentar tortillas ya te puedes casar. Yo ya estoy casada, pero dicen las abuelitas.
Okay, questions. How do I know when the fish is fully cooked in the oil?
After cooking it for about 5 minutes in the oil, if you're flipping it, that's fine. Just after 5 minutes. Since the strips are thinner strips, 5 minutes is perfect.
And they're asking if the bottles of Mexico Lindo need to be refrigerated after they open them.
I believe they do. After you open them, I believe they have to be refrigerated. Yes. So I have my warm tortillas right here, and I'm gonna add my little fish tacos, just like that. Perfect. And then we're gonna bring this guy over here. And I'm gonna add some cabbage. Oh, I knew I was gonna make this. Okay, so I'm gonna add some repollito. Remember, thinly sliced is really good, so you don't get like a huge crunch in the middle. We're gonna keep it like that. Just like that. And then I'm gonna add some pico de gallo that I bought at Northgate already. Pico de gallo, that's how it's traditionally served. Pico de gallo, repollo, and at Phoenix or other places for fish tacos, they have a bar of salsa, so just like that. They have their own salsas, and everybody can just add if they want, or they can just keep it simple. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of this crema, and then I'm gonna drizzle just like that. Look at that, it's beautiful. That might be a lot, but that's good. Okay. Más mejor, ¿no? Entre más mejor dice, a veces. Y salsa negra picante. Salsa negra picante de Mexico Lindo. to finish it off. And we're also gonna kind of drizzle like that. This adds a very special flavor to these tacos. And I'm gonna finish off with a little squeeze of lime because limon is sour. Just like that. Look at that. Look at those fish tacos.
They look so yummy, Isabela.
And I do have a bunch more that I made earlier. And you can serve them family style. Everybody can make their own taco. You can also do shrimp. And yeah. So I guess we're gonna have to try one, right?
Provecho.
Because I know everybody's waiting for those margaritas. That's so good. You can see the inside. It's perfectly cooked. And it's hot. Ooh. Muy rico, delicioso. Preguntas? Any questions?
I think we're good right now.
Fish? No?
No, I think we're good.
I think we're good. So moving on to Margarita. Come on, everybody. And I'll talk about a little bit about this margarita. So this margarita was inspired because, well, not inspired. There was basically always Jamaica in my house. There was always Chile. There was always Serranos. And when I grew up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make something spicy and delicious and sweet. So margaritas have a special place at our house. And since yesterday was National Margarita Day, why not make a hibiscus serrano margarita? So I'm gonna talk a little bit about can you see? Like, can you see me? Okay. So what I have going on here is I have 3 cups of water and 1 cup of hibiscus flower. And you're gonna bring it to a boil and then let it simmer. You're gonna add your 1 cup of agave nectar, and I'm gonna use agave nectar because we're gonna be making cocktails. And instead of simple syrup, which is totally great if you wanna do simple syrup, I feel like agave has a little bit more flavor than just simple syrup, and I wanted to keep it in the tequila family. So I added agave instead of regular sugar or simple syrup for our drinks. And I do wanna say that I like to add my sugar or my sweetness to my agua de Jamaica when it's still simmering and when it's still cooking. So I don't know, I feel that like that's the trick of all taquerias and homes where the Jamaica is like delicious and thick and super sweet. I always see ladies, and I always saw my grandmother adding the sugar when it's still hot, so it dissolves and it kind of thickens the Jamaica. So what I have here is the leftover hibiscus leaves. And never, never, never throw away these flowers. You don't know the endless possibilities of this flower. And here is my serrano is also in here. And I didn't seeded it and I didn't devein it. I just did a little rodajas, little circles, and I added it because there's also sweetness from the agave. So I mean, if you want to do half serrano, go for it. If you want to do all of it, perfect. Any questions before I continue? Anyone?
No, I think we're good. Okay. We're all excited.
So what I have going on here is the Jamaica concentrate for our cocktails. And you will have a leftover Jamaica that you can use later on for like mocktails, virgin mocktails, or agua de Jamaica con chile serrano. And here I have the hydrated hibiscus flower, which you can saute with onions or shallots and put it inside a quesadilla, or you can even make flautas de flor Jamaica. I even tasted one time in Mexico City an omelet with sauteed hibiscus leaf Jamaica, and it was delicious. First I was like, ew, I want to try it. It looks purple. It's egg and it's purple, and it was delicious and amazing. So what we're gonna do here, and I have these ice cubes that it was hot, so they're kind of melting already, but I added a little pieces of dried hibiscus flowers to my ice. And that's a little special touch if you want to do that. And today I have a special guest that is going to help me, or maybe going to help me drink them, but not necessarily make them, to make our hibiscus serrano margaritas. So come on over, special guest. And she's really excited. And this is my grandmother, and she's going to be helping me or like I said, she's gonna be helping me drink them. I don't know if she's gonna be helping me or both, but she's ¿cómo te llamas? Diles cómo te llamas.
Esther?
No.
Esther?
Well, everybody knows her as Minina. So this is my grandmother, Minina, or Mini as I call her, and she's gonna help me make these margaritas. ¿Cuál es tu otro favorito?
Margarita.
Okay, yeah, that's why she's my special guest today, because her favorite thing to drink is ¿qué?
Tequila.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, entonces te voy a platicar, and I'm gonna kind of do English and Spanish, because like Celia Cruz says, her English is not very good looking, but we're gonna make it work.
After a couple margaritas, her English is going to get really good.
Aquí puro Spanglish, no pasa nada. Can somebody pass me the lemon lime juice? Okay. Entonces tú me vas a ayudar a meter eso. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake. This is a recipe for 2 cocktails. Más para ti, para mí. Okay. Okay. Y si quieres podemos hacer doble. Okay. So here I have a measure, and it's a 2-ounce one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add ice to our shaker. Yo le echo, ahorita tú le echas el I'm gonna do a little bit of ice. Like I said, you can do the ice in the cup. You don't have to do it in a shaker. We're gonna do it in a shaker because I want her to dance and make some moves. So we're gonna prepare. We're gonna do for two. So we're gonna do 2 ounces for each person. So we're gonna do 4. Entonces, ¿tú puedes tener esto?
So, Isabella,
Yes.
you do it without the serrano, correct?
Yes, you can definitely do it without the serrano.
And because I'm a tequila expert, you're using a white silver tequila, and
Yes,
that's
I'm using a
Julio,
silver
right?
tequila. And for margaritas that have a lot of flavor, I do like to use silver. I feel it's a little bit more subtle. I'm using Don Julio tequila, but you can use any silver tequila. This is the juice of 1 lime. Muy bien. Ya te puedes casar. No te vayas. So this is our lime and our tequila, and we're gonna add our hibiscus, nuestra Jamaica, con serrano ya infused. Okay. And this also, the hibiscus, I mentioned that I already sweetened it with agave, and I'm gonna do just a little extra agave, just for a little bit more sweetness. Están tan dulcecitas, ¿verdad? Pues sí, a ella todo le gusta. ¿Quieres shake tú? Yo? Okay, so I guess I'll shake too. I think she's just gonna drink them. Okay. So that's right here, and I'll talk a little bit about our situation right here. So recipe asks for also for dry hibiscus flowers that we're gonna blend in a food processor or in a blender, and we're gonna add salt to it. So this is what they look like when they're blended, and then we added some salt because we're gonna use this for a rim of our cocktail. Ándale. ¿Ves si te puedes casar? Muy bien. 2 veces, pero con el mismo. So, and I'm added a little serrano that I did seed because you don't want extra seeds in your. Oh, and our hibiscus mixture is drained through a fine mesh strainer. Because you don't want to. I mean, if you do want to add a little piece of serrano, you can totally go for it, but it's already perfectly infused. Muy bien. That's perfect. And I gotta add that little serrano back in there, and then we're gonna do ice. I'm gonna do ice in here. ice in this one as well. ¿Quieres platicar que creciste en una barra? So yeah, and I'm gonna add this ice. My great grandparents, so her parents, they owned a restaurant in Rosarito that was called René's after my grandfather, and it was a bar restaurant. And a lot of people would come, even a lot of people from the US would come, and they would, to what? A motel too. It's also a motel. Sorry, I'm getting instructions over here. So I have my, quitamos las margaritas, okay? Vaya, no, espérate tantito. Mejor bar de Rosarito. Oh. So yeah, El René's. If anybody knows El René's, yeah, she basically grew up there. It's her family business, and I also grew up there. So good memories in El René's. Muy bien, Jeffrey. Sí, okay.
Good times.
There's people that say El mejor bar de Rosarito. We spent a lot of summers there.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Y muy buena música.
Sí, la gente iba a bailar. It was also a motel, so they had a pool, and people would like spend their summers there. Ooh, and this is probably one of my favorite things of a cocktail is the froth that the shaker creates. You can also do these margaritas blended as well. Oh, and I also saw somebody that said, I don't have tequila. You can always use mezcal. Tequila and mezcal son primos hermanos. It's just a preference of taste. We like tequila. ¿Te gusta mezcal? También. Le gusta todo. I'm more into tequila, but yeah, ¿you quieres probar? Claro. Así están de buenas margaritas en el René's.
Más buenas.
Okay, pues salud.
Salud.
We're gonna try it.
So we do have a question.
Yes.
How long did you boil the flowers, water, serrano, and agave?
I let it sit until it boils. And when it starts to boil, I simmer it for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I also let it stand without the heat for about 10 minutes before straining it. It's good.
It looks delicious.
Delicious.
Oh, it's like really good. ¿Te sabe el serrano?
And the green garnish is chile serrano, no?
Yes, these are serranos. It's spicy, but I think it's like super subtle. And serrano is un chile rico. You can also use jalapeño if you're not into such. Le da mucho sabor. She's saying le da mucho sabor. And she's already getting up better herself. But any questions on margaritas, René, Rosarito, fish tacos, Ensenada, beer batter, whatever, you name it, we're here.
I don't know. Any questions? If not, let me tell you guys. So next week you're back with us, right, Isabella? On in our classes, you're back with us next week.
Yes, I have a class next Thursday, which I believe is March 4th, and it's our chiles rellenos de camarón con crema de chipotle and capirotada de dátil con café, which people are really excited about that one. So yeah, and it's people in the back are saying it's really good because they tried it in the test kitchen, and it is really good. And it's not a traditional capirotada, but definitely tune in next class. I think it was capirotada. She tried it because she's my real food tester or my guinea pig. I don't know. But yeah, so tune in next Thursday, 6 p.m. We'll be here. We'll be making capirotada, chiles rellenos de camarón. And if you guys have any questions, and remember, if you cook these recipes to tag us, tag Northgate, tag me, my handle is Isabella, LLMFUNCKE, Isabella M. Funke. I know it's a little funky, but yeah, if you already follow me on Instagram, tag us. Y por salud.
We do have a couple questions.
Yes.
Okay, number one, can you please repeat what went into the beer batter?
Yes, I can. It's 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of dried crumbled oregano, and 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of fresh ground pepper, and then 1 cup of dark Mexican beer.
Okay,
And it's all whisked and set aside before drenching our pieces of fish.
and then we have, my question is, if I have leftover fish, how do you advise that we reheat it to make tacos later? Can they reheat the fish?
The already battered and fried fish, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely put them in the oven in about 250 degrees, or you can definitely do toaster oven as well. I wouldn't reheat like on a pan. I mean, you can, but it will get a little bit more golden and brown. But yeah, oven is great. You can also do microwave, just don't do it too long because stuff happens in the microwave and sometimes it tends to explode. So I would do oven or toaster oven to reheat them.
Okay.
And you can also freeze them and then bring them out back as well. Just the fish strips.
Okay, then the other one is, can you use an air fryer?
To reheat them?
No, to make them.
No, I wouldn't do an air fryer because air fryer, what it does, it cooks them with the air from the bottom up. And this batter will definitely be a little bit runny for your air fryer. So I wouldn't do air fryer. You can definitely do a little bit less oil and it would just take a little bit longer to cook. But yeah, I wouldn't do air fryer because this batter is going to be all runny and then it's going to start to burn at the bottom of your air fryer. So,
and yeah. I did put her handle in the chat for everybody. Follow her on Instagram. Can they use scallops?
Yeah, they can definitely use scallops. I wouldn't have the cooking time right now for scallops because I know scallops are thicker and they tend to cook a little bit longer. But yeah, you can definitely do scallops and that would be amazing. A beer batter scallop taco situation. Taco de gallo, that would be really good.
And then we had somebody who had always been intimidated to make fish tacos and you got her disintimidated today. So she's going to make.
I know it sounds like beer batter and frying and the time and everything. It sounds like a complicated recipe, but I mean, I'm really glad that I helped break it down. I'm really glad that I took that taboo or stigma away from fish tacos because you can make fish tacos at home and they're going to taste I was going to say way better, but they're going to taste really, really good, maybe even way better because you made them and you made them with love and with your own little hands. So yeah.
And I'd like to invite everybody to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Vanessa, who is one of, I guess, she knows Isabela, and she'll be teaching us how to make tacos al gobernador and jicama tacos. And then on Thursday, we have Abril, who comes back and is going to teach us how to make enchiladas de camarón verde. So guys, I hope you guys are all hungry because we have a lot to do. And Isabela, salud.
Salud. She said she wants more, and yeah, we'll definitely make more. And if you want to, you can always triple or double this recipe if you want to serve more cocktails. So salud.
Salud y hasta pronto. Bye.
Salud. See you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye.